From the former convent of the Good Shepherd overlooking Inwood Hill Park in New York City, welcome to Inwood Artworks On Air. It's where we meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes that make their home in what we affectionately call Upstate Manhattan. I'm your host, Aaron Sims, and today we welcome writer Dorcas Ramos. Dorcas is a Washington Heights, Inwood-based writer and illustrator. She writes for various publications, both in print and online, all the while managing and designing her own stationery company, Porcupine Hugs. Her writing has been featured in Travel and Leisure and TravelAndLeisure.com, BET.com, Latina and Latina.com, Parents Latina, Time Out New York, Time Out New York Kids, the Manhattan Times, and many other publications. She is also the deputy director of Uptown Stories, a local nonprofit that offers small group writing workshops for children ages 8 to 18. We're going to talk about her work and so much more. But first, let me welcome you, Dorcas, to Inwood Artworks On Air. It's great to see you.
Hi, it's so nice to see you too. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. It's been a long time.
I know.
What have you been doing the past 2 or 3 years?
Oh my goodness. I feel like, has it been that long?
I think so. I think I've seen you in the flesh. Obviously, I've seen your digital presence on the social channels.
Yeah, no, I mean, the past 2 years have been a blur, I'm sure, as it's been for most of us. But honestly, I've been really just working on Uptown Stories and helping them grow and, forging some new partnerships with local organizations. So that's been keeping me plenty busy.
I bet. Well, it's so awesome what you're doing with Uptown Stories, and I want to get into them. But I think we need to take a step back first. What lights your fire? Because you're such as you hear me rattle off, just an inkling of your great accomplishments and your long history, but it's all tied into the art of writing. Mm-hmm. And so I want to know, where's your passion from writing and art come from?
Oh my goodness. So, I mean, obviously for as long as I can remember, I've just always, I always say like writing and art have, each has a half of my heart. And if I'm doing too much writing, then the part of me that loves to do art and illustrate feels a little left out. So I'm always kind of bouncing between the two. But, I started from writing in my journals and always having a hard time communicating verbally. So I would always just cling to the page and just write whatever I was thinking, whatever I felt I couldn't express out loud with friends or family. I would always just journal a lot.
So if anybody ever gets on, your brother or your sister or your parents get on, look at this lady right here, okay? This is proof of it. It works. Buy the kid a journal. Let the kid do a thing.
Absolutely. Like,
when did you start? How old were you?
How old was I? I mean, I think I have my first diary when I was like first grade.
Oh, wow.
Kindergarten. Yeah. And I still have those journals.
Came with the penmanship book, apparently.
My penmanship is amazing.
I bet.
I calligraphy, all of that. Anything.
It's a lost art.
Yes. And I mean, if anyone needs an amazing pen, I'm the person to ask because I'm all about the stationery.
Well, we're going to get to that second, I think, too. Well, so starting as a young person, and as I mentioned, you contributed work to many publications. However, today you are a freelance writer and illustrator, but you didn't start out there. I didn't say you started in first grade, but can you talk about, truthfully, how your journey from realizing your talent from the journal entries and saying you have a passion and translating that into where you are now here in your profession?
Mm-hmm. So I actually went to college for something completely different. I have my undergraduate degree in architecture, even though I've always...
From Syracuse?
From New York Institute of Technology. Because our high school had us choose majors. Okay. And so up until that point, I didn't realize that you could I felt like if you liked writing, the only thing you could do was be an author. Okay. And I didn't want to write a book. So I felt like, well, that's not a path I'm going to pursue. So I went into architecture because I like to draw. And soon into my undergraduate studies, I realized like I do not want to do this. And so I started writing for the paper, for our campus paper. And I ended up devoting more time to those articles and that work than my actual architecture projects. So I was like, oh, there's something here. Yeah. And I realized, oh, wow, journalism. I just didn't grow up realizing that can be an option for me. Because in, when you're growing up as an immigrant kid, you're a doctor or a lawyer, architect, like something big.
And you grew up here in Washington Heights, Inwood, right?
I did, yes. I'm born and raised from Washington Heights and Inwood. And so I ended up applying to Syracuse for journalism, which I'm sure was quite the upset to my parents, but they still supported me.
Hey, tell your parents you're going to the theater. That's really crazy,
True,
all right?
true.
You got nothing.
Yeah.
Journalism, there's a paycheck at the end of that graduation, hopefully.
I know. Yeah, so I went to Syracuse for a 1-year program there, and then just been freelancing. And the first freelance gig that I had was at the Manhattan Times. Just searching, okay, what's local, I'm from here. I know these stories.
Was Deborah Lee there then too?
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. So that was my first gig, covering local, like the kayakers leaving from the dike.
Is that your first story, the kayakers?
One of them. That was one of the first stories.
Wow.
Yeah, covering events at the United Palace and things like that. Cougans. I did a profile on them.
Wow.
So yeah.
Fantastic. And look at you now on, national publications.
Yes. So after that, I was working at Latina magazine and still freelancing. I've never not been freelancing.
That's incredible. You know that's unique, right?
How? What?
Well, some people go get jobs and stay with a corporation. Like they go, particularly and I'll say this, in the journalism vein, they'll go to, not to say they don't write for people and they'll freelance through different means, but like you hear people writing for the Times, writing for the, particularly if I guess maybe New York City might be different, and maybe the digital age has helped push things out differently too. But I'm from Cincinnati. Like you write for Cincinnati Enquirer, there's like only a couple the Enquirer or the Post or something like that. Or you're working for the New Yorker, and you have certain you have to hit these words every issue. So I find that there's somewhat like you have your bread and butter ones. I guess you have your bread and butter gigs. That hopefully are your standards are going to keep you going, and sure you can write for something else if you want to, but I find it really fascinating and totally amazing that you have been able to piece together a career basically as catch can.
Well, I'm not going to say that that's entirely because I wanted to. It's because it's such a volatile business, the magazine world, and I could be working in one place and then that publication folds, like it closes down, or they'll lay off 50 people in one go, or budgets get sliced. So I learned early on, like, so I'm at Latina magazine. I was there for about 2 years, and they let pretty much all of us go, and then luckily I was still freelancing for other places. And so then I went to, I think Travel and Leisure was after that. And, sometime after that I got let go from there as well. Cause there was no more money for the special issues department. So I learned early on to always have something else in another burner. Right. Nice. Because then I can just jump onto this other thing. And then I was at BET.com for 5 years. And when that ended, I was already working for some other place. So that's just been my journey. I'm always kind of, well, what else am I juggling?
Yeah.
My friends joke and say that my job is finding more jobs. I am never, this is probably the first time in a very long time at Uptown Stories that it checks off so many of the boxes of the things that I enjoy doing. And I feel like I have a purpose and that I am giving forward to my community. And it's just been fantastic.
Well, let's turn our attention to that. Uptown Stories, if you didn't know already, inspires kids to discover and develop their inner voices in a diverse community of writers. So can you tell us about how Uptown Stories give support to enable young authors to thrive?
Yeah, so we kind of are based on the idea that sometimes at school, kids do not enjoy writing the things that they have to write at school, right? We have the 5-paragraph essay, and it has to have an introduction and a conclusion. And so we're really built on the idea of what would kids write if they could just write about whatever they wanted, if they didn't have to follow these strict rules and all of that. So we really want kids to have this space to play, with words and just be as imaginative as possible and not feel like they're doing it right or wrong, or, just love for the love of writing. And so we have classes on all different kinds of genre, like poetry, and I do some journalism workshops and picture book writing and fiction, nonfiction. We also have screenwriting. So we have all kinds of different genre for kids, like you mentioned earlier, around 8 years old and up. And so they meet, once a week for a couple hours a week, and they really start to build a community within themselves. And we have kids that started when they were 9 and go on to graduate high school, and they keep coming back year after year, and then they want to volunteer with us and intern with us. Wow. And so it's like, we tell them you can't ever get rid of us. you're once you're a part of our family, you're family for life.
I love it. I love how you cultivate community through writing.
Yeah.
So can you give us a few examples of what the most popular workshops you guys offer right now?
Yeah. So, we have Jane LaCroix, and most of our teachers are all local. Mm-hmm. Me and our other two staff that help run the program are also from Washington Heights and Inwood. So we're all very local, and we're not really interested in expanding, even to the whole city or nationwide. We're very
downtown stories and East Town.
It just does not have a ring.
Ring to it, right?
No. Yeah. And we're very, we like to say inch wide, mile deep. So we really want to focus on making an impact locally with our students, with our kids here, instead of trying to spread ourselves too thin.
Yeah.
Because, there's so many kids that need the help here, right? So some of our more popular ones are, Jane LaCroix has a couple of poetry workshops, and she's like, I think she's like a wizard. You'll see her, she goes to Fort Tryon Park for her workshops, and they'll just be inspired by nature, and like, she's just such a magical teacher. She's like the little piper with all of her kids like following behind her. And we have also Stacy Davidowitz, who teaches our Elements of Fiction class, which is if it's a child that has never taken a writing workshop, is kind of interested, that's a really great beginner class, because you do learn the foundations. We do still teach, some of the rules, and then they have the option to break them if they want, right? So the Elements of Fiction is also a really great beginner workshop. What else? I have to plug my own class.
Come on, here we go.
So I've been teaching a picture book writing workshop that's bilingual, and we meet at Word Up Community Bookshop. And so the kids get kind of free range of the whole store. They can pull books, get inspired. Word Up has provided some free books to the kids as well. And I have to say, little kids, because I have the younger kids, writing picture books for kids is the most adorable thing. It's so cute. Yeah.
I can tell it really fills you. And just so you know, for people as well, they're pay what you can classes.
They are. So we
pay what you will.
Yeah, pay what you can, meaning that whatever a family feels they can afford or contribute toward their kids' workshop. And the workshops are, 10 weeks long typically. Yeah. And we never ask for proof of income, or we don't provide scholarships, because we feel that, scholarships kind of makes it a bit of a competitive thing amongst the kids. Yeah. And we don't want any family to feel shame in having to show that they can afford something. So we just take your word for it. Whatever you feel if it's $10 for the whole workshop, we are happy to have you and your child.
That's really great. Mm-hmm. Well, I hope people are taking advantage of it.
They are. I have to say, about 80% of our families pay reduced tuition.
Fantastic. Well, in addition to the workshops, I understand you also publish a print anthology and an online magazine called Uptown Inc. See, it rings nicely, right?
Yeah.
So what distinguishes those two?
Yeah. So the anthologies is something that, the company has been doing for years, where we collect all of the work that the students have created over the course of the semester. So across all of our workshops, and over the course of the years, these books are hefty. They're nearly 600 pages.
It's a lot of work for a year.
It is so much work. They're so prolific, especially the poetry kids. So we collect it and we print these books, and the covers are designed using the artwork that the kids have created. And one of us will color it, turn it into color and design and lay out the cover. And each child gets their own copy for free. And there's also copies being sold at Booney Coffee, as well as Amazon and Word Up Bookshop. Yeah, but the kids are so thrilled to see their stuff. They're legit authors.
That's really great. I mean, and how better than leaving your class at the age of 8 with a publishing credit?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And they have little bios.
Like, forget the diary, Mom. I'm going to take this class and I'll be a published author. You can buy it on Amazon.
Exactly. You. If I had that when I was younger, I would have saved myself 4.5 years of architecture.
So I think the first thing you do is you have a pitch packet to the parents saying, avoid a 4-year college. Just come here and get them started here and get the tools you need.
They will learn so much more from us. I'm serious.
You're like, I've been there the 4 years.
Yes.
You don't need to do it. Just talk to me.
Yeah, save yourself the student loan. Just nurture that. Nurture this gift that they have.
Well, I think it's an incredible opportunity, and I hope people take advantage of it. Before we go, let's talk about Porcupine Hugs. Mm-hmm. Go back to your own work and tie it all together. Mm-hmm. So it's a great complicated name because it's full of love and pain, it seems. What a great extension of your passion for writing by giving the opportunity for others to write. Mm-hmm. So you're not teaching, but you're literally providing a canvas for them to write. And maybe instruction through the art. So if you will talk about that and how that came to be amongst all the other products you're doing right now.
Yeah. So Porcupine Hugs is a stationery company that I started around 2012. And the name kind of came, I am very sarcastic by nature. And it sometimes takes people a little bit to realize, like, I'm being sarcastic because I seem so sweet and I deliver it with like such sweetness and a smile. So Porcupine Hugs was kind of, brought up from this idea of, it seems sweet, but if you really think about it, it has a little bit of a punch.
It's a great band name. It's a great improv group name.
I'll keep that in mind.
You can use this over and over again.
Yeah. I'll make sure to think on that when I branch out. But a lot of the cards and the stationery are hand illustrated, painted with watercolors. And I mean, I do have to be honest that it's kind of taken a little bit of a back burner while I focus on teaching, but it's always there. All the classes that I teach merge that writing plus art. And so stationery to me was that marriage between wanting to share something that was really heartfelt and genuine, but also with art.
And it keeps you engaged to that artistic side of yourself that gets jealous of the writing side of yourself.
Exactly. Right? I get both.
Bookending out. You see how I did that?
Exactly. Nice.
Well, where can people go to check out all the cool things you do with Porcupine Hugs? So
you can find me on porcupine-hugs.com. I'm also on Etsy. And I share a lot of, the artistic work that I've been doing on Instagram at Dorcas Ramos. And
where's Uptown Stories located on the web? Where can we find you to sign up for a workshop? I know I'm too old, but still, if I can pass it on.
Maybe someday. I'm always pushing to expand. Like, I always want to go younger or older. I'm going to take it there. I'm either going to have a starting with pre-K or go to, because we have had adults reach out to us and saying like they really want that opportunity to practice or have their work published, which I know we kind of glossed over Uptown Inc., but that's going to be a student literary platform. Okay. So any kids that are interested in submitting work can do that at submit.uptowninc.org, and we'll be kind of showcasing the brilliant work that our kids are creating. Because the anthologies, you had asked earlier what the difference is between the print and the digital version, is that the anthologies are in black and white inside. And some of these stories and artwork just beg to be shared in color. So that's what Uptown Inc. is going to strive to do. So I'm the one overseeing that project, and I helped launch that website to really give kids a platform like, okay.
So Uptown Inc. includes with the anthology, but more.
Yes, it'll be more. It'll be
in color, but like the box set, for instance.
Yeah.
Everything you wanted, liner notes, everything. Mm-hmm. All the illustrations, perhaps.
Yeah, it'll have illustrations all in color. And also the anthologies take a long time to create.
Sure.
So with Uptown Ink, it'll be more frequently. It'll be updated every week. And also, kids who aren't part of Uptown Stories who still want to share their work can do so through Uptown Ink.
Is Uptown Ink free as well?
Everything, yeah, it's free. It's you send it to submit at uptownstories.org. uptownink.org, and I will be on the receiving end of that, and we'll look through your submissions and post it with a little bio and a photo and all of that.
That sounds like an invitation to me, folks. So I hope you guys better take advantage of it. All right. Well, Dorcas, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you. This was such a treat. It was nice getting to see you again and getting to tell everyone about what we've been doing.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more from you and from Uptown Stories. So, listeners, you'll be able to find those links in the description of this episode, so we'll help get the word out. So thanks again, Dorcas, for joining me on this Artist Spotlight episode of Inwood Artworks On Air. It's where we meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes who make their home here in Upper Manhattan. If you have a comment or anything at all, feel free to reach out to me, and you can show us some love and tell us about it at Apple Podcasts. You can review us there and give us 5 stars, I hope. Many thanks to Church of Good Shepherd here in Inwood NYC for hosting us, and to highsites.com for local Uptown promotional support. Be sure to follow us on social media at Inwood Artworks to keep up with all that we do. It includes the Inwood Film Festival, Filmmakers Al Fresco, pop-up art galleries, live performances, and so much more. You can support On Air and all of our programming by making a tax-free donation at inwoodartworks.nyc/donate. This program is supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with City Council. From the top of Manhattan and the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Aaron Sims for Inwood Artworks On Air.